We have 3 hours, more or less, for our presentations and for our group tasks. So basically, how this workshop will play out is that we have basically until 11:30 to do our presentations and do our group task, and after that we will all of the workshops will gather in the main hall and we will present our results. So we will see if there's like a break in between that we should do in our own group. We will time manage ourselves. We'll see how we will find it the best for us. But if there's a need for a break after the group tasks, we will do that. If not, we will just do the presentations and the group tasks one by one. And then if we have some extra time before 11:30, we'll just have some extra time to have coffee or just like a casual chat or whatever. So anyways, to the water and environmental awareness. First, nice to meet you all. I'm Henry. I am the communication manager for this Life IP CleanEST project. So my task is to raise the environmental awareness, and this is something we do with our number of many great partners that we have that also have their own communication actions and tasks. That's my job, is to kind of intertwine them all and, you know, make like a bigger picture of it all. I will just read something from here, just to kick things off with like a positive message. So water is the basis of life and an essential resource, but its proper management and protection has become increasingly important as global water scarcity and water pollution increase. Environmental awareness includes awareness of the value of water resources, the impact of water use on the environment, and the measures and solutions to solve water problems. So this includes knowledge of water treatment, water conservation, water saving technologies, and the transition to better water use practices. Increasing environmental awareness helps people understand how their actions can affect the water environment and promotes more sustainable and responsible approach to water use. So this is something that we, as people who deal with environmental awareness, this is our job to promote and protect and do our best with that. So for the first presentation, that I would just want to give you a brief overview in our Life IP CleanEST project. What are our communication actions? And then we will give word to our good colleagues from Malta. Then we will have our Swedish colleagues presenting, and then like a more specific part of our communication actions, which is our great communication partner, AHA Science Center, who we already saw from yesterday as well with the science show. So Ainika will present their own part of the project more detailedly. But we can start with my presentation. I won't take too long because I'm a lot more interested what you guys have to say, and then we will do the presentations. And I will just skip ahead a bit, and for the group tasks, we will split into two, and we will have two group tasks. One of them is to have this kind of information campaign. We will try to maybe make like a roadmap or something, on executing a good information campaign. Should start with something with a message or something we would like to promote, maybe a goal we are trying to achieve. And then we will try to make a roadmap or something to whatever kind of good communication actions and activities we can do to the best of our ability to pass the message around or reach the goal that we are trying to reach. This could be something, to promote drinking tap water, or to promote collecting rainwater. I have some ideas written out here, but the ones who will be doing the group task are free to choose their own as well. And the other group task will be managed by Rufus and Carmen, and they will have you do a training program. So maybe also another thing we should do before I start, since there isn't too many of us, maybe like a little quick introduction round would be good. Because, you know, as opposed to yesterday where it was like more formal, more presentations, more like panels, I think we should keep it like really casual here. There's no like pressure. This is something that just like an environment for, you know, discussions and collaboration. So maybe we should start by maybe just telling everyone that who we are, what do we do, what kind of projects are we involved in, and that's basically it, and then we can hear from more from the presentation. So as I said, I am Henry. I am from the Life IP CleanEST project. I am the communication manager, and as like the lead partner is Ministry of the Climate of Estonia. So that's where I'm working from, and so I would give the word from there.
So social marketing moves me a lot, and it's my favorite part of marketing. So my role it remains still as a communication officer, but moved on to promoting and endorsing and building more awareness. So my projects mainly were a water campaign, which I will present to you today, which will nearly to close. We're gathering the last results and the technical audit, and also the RBMP-MALTA. Mainly my job is to take care of the website, posting on social media, helping certain tasks like apps, games, so it's fun. Enjoy it.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Linnard, and I'm from Finland, from the Center for Environment and Water Grid. And I work as my main job is transportation planning engineer, but mainly I do designing and communication in different, we have Life Lives project, we work there as a partner, and there I do communication, and then I work in application projects for life projects, like life sync projects, and mainly I do communicational jobs.
Hello, my name is Julia. I work with Vanessa, the Energy and Water Agency, which is a government environmental agency based in Malta. My background is environmental science, and then my master is focused on management and marketing. But now what I do at the agency is I work within the water unit, so my focus is mainly water. And I also help out with the Life IP RBMP project, which I'm going to be presenting for you. I also am helping with the drafting of the third RBMP for Malta. And I also work on some actions of the LIFE project separately, which also are somewhat communication-based. So I help out on a game we developed for children to help them decrease their water consumption. We developed an application for farmers to be able to kind of log how much water they're using throughout different seasons, to kind of be more aware of their consumption practices and to see how they can save water. So I have like a water view both from the technical side and then more from a communication side. So it should be a very interesting workshop, I think. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Franziska. Franziska is I'm working at the German water provider, so we are a public organization doing water supply and water treatment, and a lot of research projects, and so my job is project manager for really a variety of projects, and also for the whole process, so writing the proposal until all the formal things, and also project lead. So I have to do communication as one part beside a lot, so I'm not really an expert, and I hope to learn a lot since I heard about all those communication expert marketing things. Yes, looking forward to our workshop today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is I'm from Estonia. I'm Minister of Climate. My background is environmental technology, but currently in Ministry I deal with priority substances in the environment and also drinking water and resources protection issues.
Hello everyone, I'm Lucas. I work for the Ministry of Regional Affairs and Agriculture. I'm the project manager for lighting the CleanEST there. I also help manage another project there that revolves around biodiversity in agricultural land, and my background is mostly in landscape ecology.
Hi everyone, I'm Stella Sorgen. My name is Berman. I'm from the Estonian Chamber of Agriculture and Commerce. I'm from my CleanEST project. And my main task is to organize seminars and programs for farmers about water environment awareness.
And I'm Margaret Kappinen. I'm Communications Manager for Life Good Water IP in Latvia. In a way, I'm, I think, like Henry, but the Latvian version. But our project is a bit different, starting with the fact that communication is not done by the lead partner, not by the main partner, which is the Agency of Meteorology and Geology and everything else, who are leading the project. But I'm working for a small, comparatively small NGO. It's affiliate of WWF in Latvia. And I think in a way it's done on purpose that communication is given to us, because we are much freer to say things and to speak openly. But it's a different situation that you are having. But in general, I think our communication is done differently in the sense that we don't have a broadcasting company as a partner in the project, and we don't have something like AHA as a partner in our project. So I think a lot of real communication work is really done by the project communication partner. So, and my background is in communication. I've studied journalism and public relations. So, and most of my life I've been doing communication, and mainly in the area of environment protection. So it's in a way something that I kind of know how to do, but maybe things can be done totally differently. So that's why I'm very interested to see how communication is being in CleanEST project.
And the others as well.
Yeah.
I'm Rosita Eriksson. I'm from the Life IP Rich Waters IP project in Sweden. I'm the communication officer, so so we have this program project management team, so I'm coordinating our communication, but also our 35 partners communication. 35 partners. And we haven't focused our communication so much on the general public, a little bit of course, but mainly like how do we get our results to the target groups people can use it. So it's quite technical. It's for farmers, or for advisors, or for policymakers, or for municipal water people, like tools for them. So how do we take our results and make them usable for the target groups? But we're also in the stage where we feel that but we're going to talk about more like how we communicate with the politicians and how we use the results. So it's a little bit different from like public awareness campaigns, but we will tell you more about that in the workshop.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Rosalie. I work with Rosita in Rich Waters, and I'm actually the monitoring officer, so I'm not a communication expert. But yeah.
We will tell you how important it is to work together with
Yes.
monitoring and communication.
Of course.
Yes.
Please.
Over to me. Hi, good morning. Name is Linnard, and yesterday, and I was making a short presentation for you. Still working in the Environment Investment Center. My department has there over 40 active grant schemes, and surprise, a small part of it is also about environmental awareness. Eva for schools is one of them started, and one is a little bit more general. So I hope we gather some good practices, ideas for around Europe, and see maybe we can also do things a little bit differently there.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ainika. I'm from AHA Science Center. I'm a project manager there. But my background is actually a teacher. But we work with kids, education is the thing that I do. And I'm going to give you a presentation anyway, so I'm not going to spill anything now. You can hear about what we do there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. A teacher and a communication manager, maybe not too different, you know. There's still a message or something you would want to, you know, carry on to people. As promised, I will give a short overview of our communication activities in the LifeIP CleanEST project. So, is there anyone, just in case, that hasn't received like the overview of today's like workshop structure or anything? So, if you'd like to, there are our presenters here written with their the topics of their presentation. So basically, the communication and environmental awareness rising in LifeIP CleanEST project. Everything starts. Well, everything actually started with the grant, with like the communication, like blocks and actions that are there written, that the results that we have to achieve. But for my task as the communication manager, as I said, to intertwine all the work that we have with our partners, is to come up with a communication plan. We are making this on a yearly basis. These include like the messages, guidelines, and deadlines for all this kind of communication activities. And it is my job to look at what kind of tasks and deadlines and results are we aiming to have for our project in general, and then make a yearly communication plan for them. Because like the deadlines we have in the grant are very like bigger picture, or with like a long deadline. They're not really well, like, you know, like the deadlines for like shorter periods of time. There's like one big deadline for the end of the project, and then it's up to me, you know, to see like how should we reach it. But it's better to have like smaller goals in between. So that's why we have this kind of communication plan. Communication plan to actually like make it with all this kind of partners. Not that easy of a job. I guess you can also relate with your 30-something partners. We have 23 of them. So it's something, but it's something that helps us to, you know, to keep up with our ambitious goals for each year. And actually, next year we are planning to kind of revise the whole bigger like communication strategy that we have. So for the communication plans, we actually developed like a more specific detailed communication strategy at the beginning of the project that we are using for the communication plans that we make yearly. So just like some key elements of our project, we have a website. Isn't that important for our project, but the main role of it is to just, you know, for basic dissemination, for some kind of materials, and it has been a kind of like a good traffic has been for the downloading of the project materials. People actually really go and read them, which is good to see. And so many of, you know, like project partners and even but like scientists and whatever who are interested in the reports. What we do have for social media is we are actually just using Facebook, just using it organically mostly, but it has given us so-and-so results. Could be better, but as we haven't really figured out like a way to actually boosting for the promotions and stuff. Mainly because there's kind of something we have to figure out is, as a ministry, we don't have like a credit card to put on the Facebook page. So this is something we still haven't really figured out this is the same for you?
You can buy a car that you can use
Okay.
for
I will.
Kiosks where
Uh-huh.
newspapers are sold.
Okay.
Yeah, I had the same problem, so.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. This is open for discussions. You feel free to.
So what we did, we outsourced certain marketing to the marketing agency, and then
Mm-hmm.
we gave them access to our
Yes.
boost from their.
Yeah. This is something we have considered as well. Yes. Okay. So this is a good plan, and this is a fun plan as well. Okay. So yeah, but right now it has been mostly organic. But social media in general, as I said, Facebook is the only one that we have. Unfortunately, I would love to have more. I would love to have time for more of the platforms, but we don't. But and at the same time, it's not like written into our project grant or like the the bigger plan. And so for me to have like a LinkedIn or a TikTok or something like that as an extra would be like just, doing some unpaid work or something. It doesn't really bring me to the goals that we have for like, the LIFE program, European Commission that we have to show afterwards. So, but show hands, who knows that their projects have something else than a Facebook, like a LinkedIn, so let's do it separately. So LinkedIn, okay. For the project, I mean. Yeah, your project has LinkedIn, isn't it?
Only in English.
Yeah, okay.
But LinkedIn we do kind of more.
Oh, that's a good idea as well. Okay, yeah. And you?
Actually, I think that LinkedIn is a really good way to like keep tabs on the other life projects. Just like in the internal.
Yeah. So LinkedIn is something we're definitely setting up shortly as well. So what about Instagram? I know Latvians say, yeah. Instagram, mostly everyone, yeah. No, not mostly everyone, but. So what do you see like your audiences for Facebook and Instagram? Are they like overlapping? Do you have like separate audiences there? What do you think?
For us, I think because we have so many partners
Mhm.
and they have a lot of stuff. So I think the main purpose is almost internal communication. Because in Facebook, for example, and Instagram as well, we reach our partners and show that we are doing this together.
Mhm.
And so more than as a promotional. But it's really, we have lack of time as well, so it's really just one way. So it's not you making most of like the social aspect of social media.
Mhm.
Almost no conversations. So it's more like diffusion. But the purpose I see is just for us internally in the project also to show the people behind
okay.
the results.
Okay,
Which is also important.
Of course. And so now for the funnest platform of them all, TikTok. Does anyone have? Okay, do you have your own TikTok? Anyone? No, nobody uses it here. Oh, nice. So TikTok is something that I've been hearing more and more for like corporate and this kind of use as well. And we have had like discussions about this as well. One of the, I don't remember which country it was from, like a communication manager for a Life IP project that we were talking about, and I remember her saying so funnily that once she goes onto TikTok for her project, she knows that her kids will instantly like run away from there. So this is how it is with like this kind of platforms for social media. I think that they are mostly or like starting to get when they get occupied by kids first, by the younger generations first, and then we try to like catch up with them. But the time, and then they leave. Yeah. At the same time, like we try to get on the platforms that the kids are, that are like cool platforms to use. They will go on. So it's always some catching up to do. The content as well. Yes. And this is something that I think we should really think about when we're having the communication plan or like the information campaign task as well, that like younger generations are so like sensitive, and they kind of they see through you. If you try to come with like a cool message, like hip and like I'm one of you kids, they will like see through it and they won't like respond good for the message.
But with regards to TikTok, at least in Latvia, we heard a lot that the Chinese spying is going on, and the government officials were even asked to go off TikTok. So this is one of the reasons why we decided that we are definitely not going into it.
Okay, but social media, interesting topic. So you also use Twitter. Good. So basically, Latvians, you have everything. not TikTok, but most everything.
When I started this job, I was quite unhappy because in our case it was written in the project that in the project proposal that we'll be using all that we'll be using for. We are also on YouTube, but YouTube is just for us like a shelf where we put all our videos that we produce. We don't do anything very actively, but otherwise, I don't think I would have chosen to be on all possible.
Okay. Well, our proposal doesn't.
Resources are not unlimited.
Yes. Well, our proposal doesn't have like social media on it at all, basically. So we also do some like project information materials on like a physical. Like paper carriers, and this is something that maybe also like a small discussion we should have. Like I'm hearing like more and more of projects that are ditching like printing paper materials like fully and going fully digital with all of their materials, to disseminate in whichever way. But what do you guys think? Because especially this kind of active action that we have. Our proposal is full of, like printing different kind of materials, but it took like a really big hit when COVID started. We didn't really get to go out and share this kind of, printed out materials that we have like boxes of now just lying around. And maybe you guys have some of the same things. So do you think this is something that we should, as live projects, maybe move on to as well, to like stop printing materials and have them more digital?
It depends on the audience. If you go to farmers, you need brochures.
Yeah.
Unless it depends on the type of content you create. For schools and even for the center, we have an education center also as part of the agency. We like to give physical brochures and even stickers sometimes with QR codes, but then they take them home. So the awareness is spread like parents, grandparents.
Yes.
Since similar to AHA and the type of educational process that we give, it's quite blueprint in them. So we're sure that whatever we do is going to be shared and spread. But then, unfortunately, part of the education we had big numbers in terms of printing, so we had even to buy a store, not buy, rent a store.
Rent a store,
to rent a store because of COVID, big quantities of brochures, leaflet, poster, exhibit boards, which is obsolete. But the education was done like 7 years ago. So at that time it was fine, and the idea was great, but now we are thinking new ways how to use them. I agree with you. I think we should do it.
Yes. Someone has to make the first step.
If you want to like print it, it has to have like a longer value. Maybe kids, it has to be some ruler or something. They have something on it that they can use later or things like that. So they use it and they don't just throw it away.
I'm just thinking for the application, because I wasn't there writing a project, not
Same,
application
yes.
part. And I saw that the person who had written it was not really a communication officer.
Exactly, yes.
So I had that discussion with our monitors and just rewrote the whole thing. and then the project evolves as well, and the COVID came, and we had that conversation, the dialogue with the monitors, and as long as we don't lower the ambition level, I mean, they don't care if you switch from print or from social media to something that you think is more relevant. We didn't at all encounter any problems in like redesigning parts of the project. And I think that's one of the advantages of the IP project, because they are long and things happen and they expect a certain flexibility. So at that time,
Well, we are definitely like thinking of either reducing the amount of them we print of them, or maybe at some point I'm personally hoping to ditch them Because yes, I get the idea that you have some audiences that would need, but someone has to, you know, make the change. We can't always like keep up with someone who wants to have like paper materials to read for them if this is something that environmentally isn't maybe the best idea. But for like other fun activities is networking with other projects and international seminars. I don't know, maybe some of you have been to a few of our, some examples that we have hosted is like ecosystem services assessment methodologies seminar, and same for the groundwater. Also we had a really fun one for the nutrient balance calculator that we have developed with our University of Life Sciences that calculates the best ways to put nutrients in the soil to have maximum use but the minimum groundwater effects, and one for residual pollution as well. So this is one of like my, actually to be honest, like one of the favorite parts of the project, you know, to have this kind of international seminars, discussions, collaborations, to have ourselves get together and also bring together the experts of their fields. This is something I really enjoy seeing as well, that like experts from different countries meet up and they can share their ideas. And we are also really ambitious participants of other external events. So basically, if you will send a invite to us, more than likely we will come. We will come. So we are very happy to participate in other external events, not just hosting them. So I think I will start maybe skipping a bit ahead just to keep us in time, but just like to keep this in the idea of the overview of our project communication activities, and communication between the implementers is something that we also do, and this is something that we do with kind of field days, roundtables, consultations, and so there's like a picture of how we met up at the dam with dam owners, and this is also we try to get this like a personal approach. And with the personal approach, we also have a support specialist for implementers of river basin management plan, and this is something that has proved very useful, that they have like a specific person to go for consultations to help them, you know, figure out what kind of ways to implement the plans. And as with the LifeIP CleanEST project, we have just one for our project area, but I don't know if some of you heard, we are trying to start up another water thematic LifeIP project as well for the rest of Estonia that didn't get the funding for the first time. We're trying again, we'll see. But there we will also have this kind of support specialist, and maybe even more of them. So this is also like a key part of communication. I think like communication between the implementers is very important, as I think you said as well, that one thing is reaching like the general public audience with communication activities, but like this kind of communication between the implementers is just as important, because they're as well actually ones that are like making the change. Just another few pictures as well. So AHA Science Center, I just put it here as a placeholder. I will not stay here for a long time because Ainika will tell you in more detail. But as I said, such a great partner to have, keeps things fun, interactive, visually pleasing, and so lucky to have them. We also have this kind of environmental awareness raising events that are mostly nature evenings. We have a hiking trail that has questions. We organize voluntary work for removing smaller dams, making spawning areas for the rivers, and this is also really something that's fun, that brings like local communities together, and as a communication activity is both like has good results and keeps things, you know, positive. So this is something that I think it's really important to, you know, as we are focusing on a specific area in Estonia, to have like the local communities, you know, not take responsibility per se, but, you know, feel like they actually have like they take a part. Yeah, something they do has an effect on their own, you know. Also, it's just like, especially when it comes to us being from like the Ministry of Climate, that we are in the capital, but the project area is somewhere else. That we don't want to be, you know, the ones who just say that what you have to do. That we also come and we will do the works with them together, and we will see that you actually can, you know, take parts of designing your own living spaces, you could say, in nature. So yeah, sometimes I mean, it's just see, there are some pictures here still. Okay. This is actually at IDO Quarry, if someone is planning to go. And also our fun colleagues who do this kind of nature evenings as well. Another really, really good communication partner that we have that you also mentioned that is something that you would like to have as well, or is Estonian public broadcasting. So basically we have them as a partner, as a media partner. They are doing TV shows, they are doing radio shows, articles, and we have like really good collaboration with them. They get good ideas for the TV shows and we get good coverage for the media. So with them, our like media reach is really, really nice. And so we have this kind of primetime nature TV show actually that has, I think, 11 episodes by now. All of them are like half an hour long and cover like different kind of, oh, this is actually, yeah, the partner is Kristo Elias. I think you saw him in the panel yesterday. So here he is, if you remember him mentioning that he went swimming in the IDO Quarry, so this is from that episode. And so basically, yeah, as I said, it airs at a really good time and is a really popular show in general, and has like, I think, 100,000 viewers per episode or something like this, and you know, tens of thousands from the reviews or whatever, if you can like. So some radio shows they're doing as well. So yeah, with them we basically have like, you know, the media coverage is really great. Just like a few examples. So yeah, basically 100,000 viewers per show, like 15,000 from reruns. We also, something I haven't touched much because it's something that we've not exactly put on a stop, but it is not our main priority at the moment. But as we are in a, how you could say, a bilingual area of Estonia where there are lots of Russian-speaking citizens, this is also one of our aims in the project as well, to get to with the communication messages to them as well. So this is something that we have to deal with. It actually has been a challenge in our project that we have to basically do everything in 3 languages. So we have Estonian, Russian, and English, and kind of makes things difficult at times. But it's something I think is really, really necessary. Being from this part of Estonia myself, actually, as I've told some of you, I'm working in the capital right now, but I'm from like 50 kilometers from here. So I know the kind of, you know, Russian-speaking citizens in Estonia. It's difficult to reach them with the environmental messages, especially. There are some, you know, differences in approaches and mindsets, and so this is something we have done with the public broadcasting as well, is to have like the Russian-speaking TV shows as well, which have been really nice as well. So just like an, you know, bits and pieces here and there, just like an overview of something we do for communication activities. As I said, it's actually, it's much larger than that, and everything has, you know, like has bits and pieces together, intertwined. But I just like had made like a selection of something that I could like show that I enjoy myself and have like a little small discussion about. So thank you really much for listening, and thank you for like participating actively in my presentation. That was really fun to see, and with all the discussions that we had. So I hope I didn't take too much of our time, and I will just promptly give then the floor to our colleague from Malta and so thank you very much for listening.
as I said, my name is Julia Bonello. I work at the Energy and Water Agency, which is a government environmental agency based in Malta. And our main focus is writing water and energy policy. So as required by the EU, we also have a lot of locally funded and also EU-funded projects focusing on water and EU. We have a lot of stakeholder outreach initiatives which involve what we do with different sectors in Malta, so with the tourism industry, with the agriculture industry, with the domestic industry. So we really try to be as in touch with local citizens as we can. So I'm going to be discussing one of our LIFE IP actions. Our project is the LIFE IP optimizing the implementation of the second RBMP in the Malta River Basin District. And I'm going to be discussing the use of water efficiency labels in Malta and how this can raise awareness on water consumption in the domestic sector. So when I was speaking to some people yesterday, I would introduce myself that I'm from Malta, and a lot of people are like, oh, nice, and then some people just get a blank face. So we are here. We always say south of Sicily. You usually don't, in fact, Malta covers, the text covers our island, we're that small. And we're currently somewhere here, so big distance to travel. We have very different contexts, but I'm sure like our experiences are similar in some issues. So we're here. Some background on our island. We're an archipelago of 3 islands. We're very, very small. We're only 316 kilometers squared. Our main island, Malta, which is where me and Vanessa live, is 246 kilometers squared. We then have a sister island called Gozo, which is very beautiful but very small. And then we have a tiny, tiny island called Comino, which is great for attracting tourists because it's really beautiful, has very nice blue waters, and about like 5 people live on it. So dedicated, very dedicated locals, self-sufficient locals. Our population is about 500,000 people as of 2022. We have a lot of tourists. It's one of our main sectors. We have the highest population density of all EU member states, which is really fun. We have 1,657 people per square kilometer, and with limited square kilometers, we definitely feel this. As I said, our main economic contributors are basically the tourism sector. We also rely quite heavily on manufacturing, mainly of electronics and pharmaceuticals, which we then export, and also construction. So we're big into building in Malta. Of course, this raises some significant challenges. So yesterday, your mayor of Narva said that unlike the rest of Estonia, you cannot rely heavily on groundwater because you don't have it a lot. So you rely on surface waters. We have the same problem, except we don't have surface waters. So what do you do if you have no water? We have to use reverse osmosis plants. So 60% of our water that's consumed is from reverse osmosis plants using salt coastal waters that is then made potable. And then this is mixed with 40% abstracted groundwater and then distributed to all of the households in Malta. Our social, environmental, and economic issues include water scarcity, because as I said, we don't have a lot of it. But we also have droughts. It's very hot in Malta. Summer temperatures go up to around 40 degrees. So tourists love it. Locals sometimes it gets a little bit challenging, but like otherwise it's nice. But we also have a high water demand to meet the direct demand of our population. We also have indirect demands, as I said, from commercial sectors and agriculture. What are some threats to our groundwater? Saline intrusion due to over-abstraction is a big issue at the moment, and also the quality of our groundwater is under threat. So we're really doing our best to kind of keep the limited groundwater availability we have at a high quality. And then obviously, as most coastal waters are currently under threat of climate change. So our project, as I said, it's the LIFE IP RBMP-MALTA project. And it has a specific focus on island and coastal basins, semi-arid Mediterranean climate, which is us, high population density and tourism, and the fragile water environment. This is a 17 million euro funded project, so it's really good for us, and it's had quite a significant impact on our life, basically. We're currently in the final phase of the project. It started in 2018, and it has 4 phases, each spanning 2 years. So the first phase had 9 preparatory actions, which I won't go into, but these basically focused on knowledge and water management. And the second to the 4th phase are more concrete hands-on actions. So all of the actions in gray are basically increasing awareness and educational related actions. So there's household audits, which we offer to the domestic sector and also to the commercial sector. We had a water educational campaign. We developed a water app and also a water game for children. The eco-label scheme, which I will be explaining. And then we had a demonstration scheme on water, new water in Gozo, which is basically water reuse and how farmers can use this to irrigate. I'm going to be talking about the eco-label scheme. So, getting down to the bare basics, what is an eco or an efficiency label? So, eco-labels are basically used to measure performance of an appliance and communicate their environmental credentials to the user of this product. So this can be either for energy or water consumption. Eco-labels are voluntary. In comparison, the energy label, which we have in Malta, is mandatory, and it's listed for energy-related products that have been placed on the market since 2017, as dictated by the EU regulation listed at the bottom of the screen. Basically, it provides information to consumers on how much energy they consume and how efficient this product is. We have no equivalent mandatory label for water in Malta, but the scope of this action is not to create a mandatory eco-label, but rather a voluntary eco-label, at least to have something available on the market for consumers to use. This is an example of the energy label that's mandatory in Malta and probably a lot of other EU member states. The older version is on the left-hand side, and now they've upgraded it to make it look maybe a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. This is the right-hand side version. As you can see, it tells you basically the rating of your product. So this is for a washing machine, it's rated B. It tells you how much energy you use. It tells you the amount of water you use. So we want to kind of take this idea and focus it specifically for water on different products. So why is an eco-label for water important? Basically, 40% of current water demand in Europe can actually be reduced through water-saving initiatives and technologies. So our goal is to develop a water voluntary label strategy to promote these devices in households. We're still in the beginning phase of this action. We had a little bit of delays with public procurement, as I'm sure you can relate to. It's quite a long, time-consuming process. But we've managed, and it's getting started, so we're very excited. And of course, our focus of this is to raise awareness and trigger a behavioral change amongst consumers. We would like the water eco-label to be similar to the existing energy label that I showed previously. How can this label benefit consumers? So basically, as I said, it raises awareness and it allows consumers to make informed decisions. So if I am an environmentally conscious consumer and I see that a product has a label versus a product that has zero label, showing no information about how much water a product consumes, I am going to put my money into the technology or the product that at least informs me on how much I'm consuming. It's a benefit for consumers that it can allow for cost savings. So tying into this is long-term sustainability. So products that at least are more environmentally friendly. I know this is a nice greenwashing word we use a lot, but they're usually designed to be a little bit more resilient and durable for long term. So this can actually help save money as opposed to having to buy products frequently because they break. Obviously, it offers environmental benefits to the place you're living in. It can actually be incentivized by the government. So currently in Malta, we have some incentives for purchase of water purifying equipment and also reverse osmosis systems. So our water is 100% safe to drink. However, it has a funny taste. Basically, when it's abstracted from, if you live near a borehole, which is where they abstract water from, it can either have like a very strong calcium taste, or if you live near a reverse osmosis, it's going to have a high chlorine taste. Safe to drink, people don't like it. Fair enough, neither do I. So we end up buying water bottles, which is basically the water you get from your tap with a little more added taste chemicals, and then you just pay for it. So you're paying for a resource twice. So the government was like, let's cut down on all this plastic that you're using and generating through buying water bottles and install your own reverse osmosis system in-house or water purifying equipment. And this has actually been really good. Like, people are really making use of this incentive. So we see that incentives do work. And of course, a behavioral change that can trigger down through different generations. So if I, as a mother, am environmentally conscious and making informed decisions, I can educate my child on how to change their behavior longer term. How can this benefit suppliers and manufacturers? So what would make a supplier want to host these water-efficient technologies? It can allow for market differentiation. So if no other shops are hosting this product, you have a competitive edge because you're distributing and selling something that others don't have. It can also generate consumer demand. So if I have purchased an efficient fridge, and I tell all my friends, oh, hey, I'm a great citizen, I have an efficient fridge, they might be like, I want to do the same thing, and this triggers consumer demand. It's very basic, but it does work. It's like a ripple effect. It also applies for innovation and research opportunities to further improve our technologies. It can increase a brand reputation, which then ties into kind of corporate social responsibility. So a lot of it is greenwashing and wanting to look the best. But as a company, for example, if you buy only Class A listed water labeled products, you're going to be considered as a friend to the environment because you're making a conscious effort, you're spending a little bit more, you're doing your research to actually host the best and least harmful products for your staff members. And as I said, also, just for like consumers, the government might also offer incentives for suppliers or manufacturers going down this route. So one of our actions is basically what this has been done already. We're trickling into the next phase. But basically, we had to do market research of the current eco-labels present at both EU, well, European and international level. So we did this research basically to see how we can apply this to the Maltese context. These are the different labels that we found. So there's the EU eco-label, which is now redundant, but it's redundant for water products, sorry. But there's also the Unified Water Label Association, which is a mergement of all other previous water labels that they've made into one now. There's the National Association for Quality in Building Installations, which is a Portuguese label. I can actually just do this prettier. There's the Water Technology List label, which is a UK label. WaterWise Checkmark is also a UK label. We researched labels both in the US and Canada and also Asia. These were not very relevant for our context, so I didn't include all of them here. But basically what we're interested in is the Unified Water Label, so the third one, and the bottom left one. So our findings, as we expected, there is no widely adopted or mandated combined water energy efficiency label for products, so it's mainly focused on energy specifically. The UWLA label provides the most robust framework for us. The only downside is this label doesn't cover any white goods like washing machines and dishwashers, so there's a gap in this label for this sense. So we could develop a separate label in order to inform consumers about these technologies. Or otherwise, we can design a label from scratch, like the Wells label, which is an Australian label. So we're kind of seeing which is the best, most realistic approach for us to take. Our next steps, basically we want to develop a methodology and a technical system for how the label would operate at a local scale, national scale. We would like to identify all of the relevant stakeholders and suppliers, both from the private and public sector, to get their opinion on how this would work. We'll present this methodology to these stakeholders and suppliers and get their feedback, and then based on this feedback, we will design, both technically and visually, this label to be disseminated into the market. My takeaway points: why would Malta benefit from a water eco-label? Obviously, we want to conserve the little water that we have left. It can increase our kind of economic competitiveness by encouraging more sustainable tourism to come to Malta. A lot of our tourists we're seeing are kind of focused on less harmful, smaller scale tourism. So we have a lot of Airbnbs that are now like moving towards being more sustainable. So we do see that people are interested in this. It provides resilience to local environmental challenges. It does support local industry. It can have cost savings for the consumer and also businesses. And it allows collaboration and partnership at a local level. Once the label is designed, our main, maybe best result would be that the label would be made mandatory in Malta. However, this is a very time-consuming process, and it would need to get approved by government, so this could take a while, but it would be the best-case scenario. So that is it from my end. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for having us, and thank you for letting me present. Thank you.
Do you think the eco-labels are they just like for the consumers or do you think they affect also the producers of these machines to, you know?
So it depends. If, as a producer, you're using water-efficient technologies to make your product, even if the product you're making is not maybe water-efficient, it will affect you indirectly. But as a sense, it's more kind of veered towards consumers.
Okay.
I would say on the whole, but... yeah, it does have a ripple effect for maybe both.
Okay, but as a consumer, if you're like also, there always comes in price thing.
Yes. So they do tend to be more expensive. Ideally, the more common and the more market demand for them, the price would go down. I mean, the price is dictated by local level, right? So hopefully, the more it increases, the more price goes down. But it's a normal thing that it would be more expensive in the beginning. But that's why hopefully the government could offer some grants for people to actually purchase these technologies over not efficient technologies.
Like I don't know, Julia, in the previous years, they did a massive energy campaign. They helped to distribute like brochures and let people understand what means the energy label. So that helped us create a very good base. We noticed that on the market, people were asking to
have, yeah.
People to find an A+, a B+, so they already know it.
Yeah.
So we could take the same approach for a water label. That would be the idea.
So do you think when people look at the labels, from my own experience, basically the letter is the only thing that I'm kind of looking at?
Yes.
How if it's A+, then yeah, maybe.
So I think, like for example, with the energy label, our go-to is having an A fridge or a B fridge. But we're going to try, I mean, the research is ongoing, but if we go that route, we might try to make it a little bit more clear. For example, having the actual amount of water consumption maybe slightly larger so the consumer actually knows, okay, it's A and it's a green color, but at least it means it's this much big. Exactly. We would like it to be a little bit more self-explanatory. But yes. So consumers are aware, they have the information to make their decisions comparing two products together. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, to give you a bit of context, the terms of funding, it's not live. It was PA10 funding. It was a national water conservation campaign. It was funded 70% from EU and 30% from public funds. So, this, to start off, a big brief, what the presentation is going to be about, what is the situation in Malta. I will skim through, since Julia gave a very good detailed one. Challenges and opportunities we locally met, and in which we use them as an advantage to tweak our messages out there. Why the need for the National Water Conservation Campaign? A quick overview, because it was a 3-year and then extended to COVID 4 years, so it was quite massive. But I wanted to mostly focus on the tools that we gave to the public to actually understand and get a physical result. So the outreach programs and the pilot program. So our big challenges, and to just give you a context, the biggest challenge, as Julia well mentioned, was the scarcity of natural fresh water, plus nature can only give about half of our total needs. Apart from that, the Mediterranean climate, low levels of rainfall, and high temperature result in very low water availability, plus the density of population is ongoing increasing. Apart from that, unfortunately, tap water is mostly given for granted due to the reliable supply achieved through years of diversifying water sources and improving distribution. However, widespread wasteful usage can limit our capacity to produce sufficient water, despite having the capability to meet our needs. So, to give you a bit of context, yearly we use around 50 billion liters of water, a part of which 20 million liters is just for domestic use. It is a bit of a challenge in communicating out there this behavioral shift, since water is less tangible compared to energy. You can switch off the lights and you physically see that you can do something, but it's not visible unless you receive a high water bill. So that was a bit of an issue. However, at first we thought that people are understanding this need and are getting smarter about their water consumption, and they are looking and searching online on what type of technologies, tips to improve, but there was a gap. So,
In September of 2019, we had launched this campaign to create an educational and awareness-raising campaign to optimize the efficient use of water, apart from that to facilitate the cultural shift in this behavioral change. So the heart message of the campaign mainly was that there are so many small ways by which, as an individual, you can do. By simple water conservation techniques, you can do a difference. And by simply thinking ahead, by being aware of water and making those small changes, like taking shorter showers, closing the taps while brushing your teeth, the list is endless. It's very big. So there are. However, a big challenge. In Malta, since we're a drought and a semi-arid country, we're used to water scarce. And people are very aware of it. So our water consumption compared to Europe is very low, but there's still room for improvement. Apart from that, improved living standards and economical activity are steadily increasing in Malta, so is our national demand. Apart from that, we didn't want to push the message that water conservation means reducing our standard of living. We were very important and adamant that our voice, it's not you have to close the tap, but rather give the information. There is opportunity to do it. So water conservation means our limited water supply, use it wisely and effectively. Plus it means that you can maintain your current level of comfort while using less water. So our tagline to emboss everything and use everything, if we do a little bit together, it will be a lot for each other. So, very important. Before any campaign, you have to do research. But we had lots of research questions that we wanted to answer. Like we wanted to understand who our actual target audience. Apart from that, what is their persona? So to help us, what campaign voice we use to target them? What is the best way to effectively reach them? What is their level of awareness and knowledge on water usage? What is their behavior at home, office, work, at school? And so, just a brief, tiny bit of the research we did, which helped us a lot in tweaking our messages. Like, research showed that 90% of respondents preferred showers over baths, so we focused on shower duration in our messaging rather than baths. It's useless, why waste? Then, research found that only 10% knew that toilets are the highest water consumption users in their homes. With that, 67% did not consider water-saving technologies, so that was the gap. And then, which media? In Malta, we're a bit delayed in terms of how social media goes in and everything. Facebook is still something big. But TV and local radio are very important, so as it's shown in our research. So our main focus were these in terms of our outreach. So how we did it? Just a quick overview. So broadcast media, we started off with a 1-minute documentary in both Maltese and English. Very important, we gave a very good introduction of what is the water conservation awareness campaign and the highlights of it. Then in the first year, we focused in doing 3-minute videos to discuss water conservation issues and tips using animation and footage. These were then later posted even on social media, YouTube, so to spread more the message and reach. Then in the second year, we went more in depth by creating 15-minute TV features called Ein, well, it's a word in Maltese. It covered Malta's water conservation history and different supply systems, featuring interviews with the experts. And the third year, we focused in creating 5-minute TV animation features called A Word on Water. It targeted mostly younger generation, 8 to 16-year-olds. It explained water conservation elements in a very simplistic and understanding manner from their end. In fact, it was with 2 children learning from a water droplet about topics like aquifer process, climate change. All these were broadcasted on our national TV in prime time.
Then TV commercials, we bombarded mostly very frequently in order to increase repetition, our message. We created 915 TV adverts that were aired like 1,200 each year. Broadcast media, in terms of radio, we did radio ads, but with a little fun way, in a rhyming style. It's a first in Malta, so they immediately recognized that it's from the Water Be the Change campaign. Social media. We highly utilized Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. We used to post like 6 static posts per month, each with a 4 or 5 day span, from videos to static posts. As you can see, a snippet from our social media page. At first, we were 6 posts a month, but then it tweaked. Sometimes even like every week, we posted even 2. It depends on what events we have, but in terms of static posts, like tips, they were, and promotion for the outreach program. But then when we had conference events, attendance to fairs, those were separate and were done in-house from the agency. So to complement that and increase repetition, Google Digital Network Advertising by giving tips related to what we were doing in the other communication tools. The same for online media advertising on news portals, the 4 top news portals in Malta. In fact, a tip maybe for this, we used to follow trials, like trials that were happening in Malta. The big ones, we used to promote specifically on that newspaper because we noticed that Maltese people like to follow them. So maybe it's a quick tip to help you. I don't know if it's the same here, but it had a good effect. Newspaper advertising, and a column called A Matter of Water. This we try to keep it more factual in terms of statistics to have bigger impact, since the audience are an elder generation most of the time on the Sunday newspapers. Then printed media, like leaflets, calendars, posters, exhibits board. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we didn't have so much possibility to distribute, but we're trying to think ahead now in post-campaign how to use them. Public relations, it's very, very important and it's very vital for the campaign. We emphasize mostly on giving articles, TV and radio appearances, which really help and very important. A monthly blog to enhance public awareness, to keep it more cool and also more with the voice more targeted to the younger generation. The website, a hub for the campaign. We did both the Maltese and English version because elderly and even some young ones still prefer to read in Maltese, so we did a replica of the website. Mainly, we used to regularly update with FAQ, resources, newsletters sent to our subscribers. It helps us very well in informing the public, especially in the outreach, because we used to do daily updates of the towns that we are visiting. So both on TV, social media, we used to direct them to the website. So we didn't aim to just do push marketing. We wanted to facilitate the change by creating outreach and pilot programs, by providing practical tools for long-term transformation, and eventually be the change. So the Join the Drops outreach program, we toured with a mobile unit, like this one, every locality in Malta and Gozo, and then we had a fixed point at our educational center here at Ain, to raise awareness, educate, distribute merchandise, and even promotional material, but most importantly, be a contact point. Face-to-face is still very important. People need a person to go to. So that was very, very fundamental for the campaign. So again, whilst we were not distributing through the outreach program, we attended national local events, fairs, and water weeks, these are the events that we went Some of them even, we went each year because they were heavily visited, so we saw the opportunity, and so we reattended around Malta and Gozo. As you can see, the fairs were very, very, especially from the students, were very, very appreciated and attended. Then the Water Conservation School Education Program, which is something separate from the EIN. We had a theater act that went to each school in Malta. It was a fun sketch, I can say. Even I enjoyed it, which I'm 33, so it was very, very, very well attended. And we had like 120 schools in attendance, which is a very good number in Malta. So apart from that, a competition, a comic competition. These are the 4 winners. They had a monetary also prize, which then the school could use for water conservation projects, or even to buy computers to help students learn more, or books. Then we added to that as a complementary thing, because we had so many good ones. We decided to publish them on a very good magazine among students called Satar, and these are the 4 winners published. So conferences and workshops, depending on the messages we were doing during that period, and even tweak them depending on what hot topic in the country was, like rainwater management. So we tried to keep it. Water Week each year. This one, we had a week stationed the mobile unit at a center like in Valletta, in the capital city, or in Gozo. We used to do fun experiments also during the day, distribute merchandise, have the opportunity even for people to speak to us in terms of the outreach program. Whatever questions they had, we can answer them. And they were technical experts, so they were knowledgeable in the subject. They were technical officers. There were either students studying like environmental sciences, earth systems, so they were knowledgeable in the subject. So the town tours. We've successfully covered all 68 localities in Malta and Gozo. Melon, during the week, a team of technical officers used to go door to door, knock on each door, and try to distribute the gift pack from Monday to Saturday to all primary residences in Malta and Gozo. We took 2 years to do it. So if we knocked and people were at home, they were given the gift pack with a voucher to redeem the bigger box. And they informed them also how to collect it and from which point during that week or 2 weeks, depending on the size of the town. If they were not at home, we still gave them the failure delivery note, which is on the left, with instructions on how to redeem the pack and the kit. So this is the gift pack with the voucher. It contained a squeegee to clean the plate, a narrator, an instruction booklet with water-saving tips, and also with the point of contact where they can reach us, such as the website, social media, and the voucher to redeem the water-saving kit, which later during the weekend they can come and visit us through the mobile unit. And they can get this. 5 devices, the kitchen swivel aerator, bathroom aerator, handheld shower head, shower on-off switch, a flushing tank bag, and another booklet with instructions and water-saving tips. In fact, something interesting, while we were distributing, we noted that some people notified us that they were finding it difficult to install them. So we preempted that, we tweaked, we prepared a video in-house on how to install them. So always thinking face-to-face contact, getting back to us, creating the material in real time. So that is very, very important. So this is just a few pictures. Sometimes we had very, very long queues to get those kits. So I think you're curious now, what is the effect of the kit distribution? So we tested each device. Mainly, its potential saving is 19 plus. However, since the shower on and off switch is estimated to give only 50% of the water flow, We understand that it has a 64% adoption rate. We still, for this study, decided to remove it. Apart from that, since the application was done 7 years ago, unfortunately, we noticed that the hippo back is a bit obsolete. So as most recent apartments and even houses, they usually do either a dual flush or even installation of an 8.8 to 9 liter flushing tank. So when putting the hippo back, it either the device doesn't work, like the dual flush, or even it doesn't flush well. So for the study, we just focus on the 14 liters savings. So in terms of the effect, keeping in mind the 110 liters and then working, the savings is 5.1 cubic meters per person per year. So that is about 13%. So to date, we have distributed 63,418 kits. So if we were to see that effect in terms of household size, and even if we were to think of being able to distribute the 100,000 target. So effectiveness depends on household size and occupancy. So we allocated the person based on the National Statistics Office household composition, which is at 187,000, to estimate the annual savings of those 100,000 kits. So the last column displays the annual impact of kit per person. So if you're a person like me, numbers are a bit hard to understand, a more visual one. So the potential water saving from the distribution of the kit for a family size in a year is equivalent to these numbers. So for my family, we're 5 household size, so it's around 14,000 bahts, which is a very big number. So with this, now we want to portray it out there. We want, after informing the public with such awareness and building so many brochures, leaflets, websites with tips, and bombarding with messaging, we want to give the numbers now. So by simply doing installation like a 30 euro kit can lead to significant savings benefiting both individuals and reducing production costs. It showcases how water-efficient tech can enhance conservation. So maybe we can able to reduce that 67% through this promotion. So another part, a water champion program, a pilot study done with the domestic agriculture and public offices. In terms of quota, the water champion program, we had 250 households, 150 farms, and 5 public offices. In terms of budget each, they had around 4,000 per household, 5,000 farms, and 40,000 euro per office. We wanted to create testimonies, numbers, so that we can actually show that even if you do the changes, yes, there are big results. So applicants who applied through the call were audited by a professional team. Then the professional team did the first visit and went through the house and the farms, and then returned back to us, and we saw through what interventions can be done and suggested budget-friendly interventions. Post-completion of those interventions and changes, we did a 2-year monitoring period, which was then compared with the 2-year pre-intervention data that we had. So in terms of what interventions we did, for the domestic, all these and these, so in total we had 27 interventions in the domestic sector. In total, 643 interventions across 212 households, targeting 1,369 persons per intervention. In terms of agriculture, I know they seem small. 6 interventions in agriculture sector, 34 interventions across 61 farms, targeting only 44 hectares in total. But to get you in the picture, we have to keep in mind that Malta is very small, very, very small. So agricultural parcels are very small. In fact, I think half of Malta's total agriculture parcel is just like the size of a football field. So results. As you can see, it is effective. Our target was for exactly 4,000 cubic meters, but we managed to do more. So it was 11,400 11 million 441 and 720 liters per year. We're very proud of this result. And then so, in conclusion, every small action matters. It's our responsibility to learn about water conservation, incorporate technologies, tips, and designs into our daily lives for a more sustainable future. However, even if the campaign is stopping in terms of the contract, we won't stop. So, just a glimpse of what we are currently working on, which is still not yet published and not spread. We want to create more awareness. So, thank you. Any questions?
I was, at the same time, making parallels with, I think, water consumption is an interesting topic to compare to, for example, pollution or plastic waste or something.
Exactly.
With plastic waste, this is my personal opinion, but I sometimes feel I'm not a huge fan of putting the blame on the people, the consumer, or
yes.
the everyday person. That the plastic waste with the things we have in straws and whatever. But water consumption, this is a really good example or thing you can actually point.
Yes, they can do the change, exactly.
That yes, you are to blame because you are the one who's flushing or using too much water, leaving the tap on, whatever.
Everyone is responsible. That's whatever you're big or small, an industry, a person, a child also.
And then the examples that you were showing, maybe you can share your thoughts as well. What you think is more effective or what should be focused more is either showing places or showing examples, good examples on how to save water, or actually pointing out quite directly that these are the places where you are wasting water.
I think it also depends on the timing of the campaign and how they were knowledgeable at that time. To start off, it depends on the awareness they had. I think we found better to bombard with the messaging, get a lot of tips and messages so that they start, and even word of mouth start to spread. Did you heard about that? Did you know that? So to create interest and attraction. Then we started to move on to more concrete messages by showing that even in the past, through the broadcast programs, we already did a lot in the past. We took care. We had even the St. John Cavalier time, in 1565. We had this problem already, and we already worked on it. So how come today, even with having better standard of living and even, I think, better availability of technology, we're more capable to buy things and everything, why not do something more? So then the message started to tweak a bit more. Now at this time, we're trying to give much more concrete numbers, because big numbers, they do stop people, especially depending on the time they receive the bill. As Julia well mentioned, in summer period it's very, very hot, so air condition, they take lots of showers and baths, have pools, even splash parties sometimes, so it is much more used. So we try to tweak, in the summer period, we focus more our messaging to do your thing, remember. And then post-summer, we start, remember, to clean your gutters, prepare for winter. So the message is always tweaked depending on the time and the period. But yes, it's very important to listen, I think, and keep in mind always who you are targeting and who are you speaking to. Always.
It's so nice to see that you're taking water conservation with such
passion.
Dedication and passion,
yes.
and to see the people actually queuing up for the kits, and it's really nice to see. Yeah, I'm only imagining that if other countries where water conservation isn't as, how do you say, urgent of a topic like you guys have, you would still take your, follow your leads with water conservation in countries where we don't have it as an urgent or problem to preempt it already start implementing these kind of actions.
And
I think it would be really nice to
And
see.
the thing is, I work also on the live page. I promote the website and the social media of it. So I'm half with the campaign and half with the LIFE. So this is a complementary to the LIFE project, and LIFE is complementing this. So it helped us a lot in tweaking even our work with other part of the projects, and even how to message out there to like, intertwine. And we saw a difference. People got more aware, and even like if you say, you remember the water campaign? Oh, yeah, of the kids. And there's still interest, even after visiting all localities. We're still distributing them from our offices. People come, send emails, and they come and get them. So I think people, they want to do, especially if it hits the pockets, definitely. But there are some people that at heart want to do some change. So I think we should keep on. And as I said, it's a common responsibility, and especially if you have kids, like I want my children to be comfortable and not having the afterthought of always thinking if they're not going to find water in their tap. Come on. So, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, then. Done? Okay. Thank you.
So we start with that.
Yep.
Hold on.
So
Oh,
we-
no, I changed my mind.
You change your mind?
Yeah, no, I want that one.
Of course, it's much more comfortable.
Then I
you
can
know,
speak
having
with
a
my
fast
hands.
speed and so, yeah. I'm not
Oh.
big fan of had that much either, so.
And then you get the break. Stretch.
I think there should be toilets, yeah, like if you go on this, then it is small, like, it should be okay.
Do you want us next to each other? Or
Whatever, it's good.
okay.
What's best? On screen.
Yeah.
Yes. So we already introduced ourselves. We're not going to talk so much about our whole project, but a specific subject on how we are trying to reach politicians and how to find the arguments that we believe are most efficient with politicians. Yes, but just a few words on our project. So it was the first integrated life project in Sweden. I always used to say that it's the biggest water project, but apparently there's another one now. But we were the first. So we're at the end of the project, so a lot of focus now is on communicating and disseminating our results. We have quite a big budget, 10 million from the European Union and the rest from national partners. And it's about boosting the implementation of the river basin management plan. So this is, compared to Malta, it's quite a big country and very scarcely populated in most areas, but we are focusing on the northern Baltic Sea river basin, which is the smallest river basin area, but the most densely populated. So this is one lake, even though it looks a bit scattered. This is the capital, Stockholm, and about 2 million people get the drinking water from Lake Mälaren. So this is all the waters that run to Mälaren and end up in the Baltic Sea. We focus on 6 thematic areas. So it's quite broadly on the main environmental issues in this river basin district. So each thematic area is both working on like methodology development and networking and better strategies, but also on concrete measures to illustrate the implementation of the Water Framework Directive. Next. As I said, we have 35 partners. It's a broad partnership, but it's the main actors responsible for the implementation of the River Basin Management Plan. So I would say that
But it's local level. We also have national level authorities. We have some private actors. We have research organizations and water
association.
Yeah, water. And this is, in terms of communication, this is a real strength because through these partners we reach most target groups, also on a national level, but it's also challenging in terms of like keeping track and coordinating and doing joint efforts. But mainly a strength, I would say.
Yeah, so for the last two phases of our project, we have done an evaluation of social and economic impact. And this is something that we have to do in our reporting for the European Union. But it is also something that we have found that allow us to gain more knowledge about like different kind of effects of measures for better water. And it's also something that allow us to see ways to create more cost-efficient measures, since the measures themselves have more than one effect. And the actions that we have evaluated are, it's 17 different, but these are some of them. And it's 3 of our multifunctional water parks, as you can see in the corner down there. And it's also, we have also these actions for low flow dredging to battle internal loading. And we also have 4 fauna passages for better connectivity. These are some of the actions, but these are our physical measures. And this assessment focuses mainly on the physical measures. But we also have assessed some actions that focus on creating more knowledge and creating trust in a catchment area to then make sure that there are ways to create measures but outside of our project. Yes, so we can do.
Yeah, sorry. Är det bara där?
Ja, men, So every project is different, but in Rich Water we have decided to look at these categories. And it's health and well-being, employment, savings, increased financial resilience, business opportunities, profile in industry development, local capacity building, participation and impact, and equality and integration. And for the methodology, the foundation of the impact assessments is the project reporting. So it's both like the interim reports, but it's also the financial reporting. And it's also surveys that we have done towards different target groups. And then the consultant that helped us with this analysis, they also did interviews with the action leaders to gain more knowledge into these categories. And then the analysis is then trying to understand the effects, like what societal changes and benefits that comes of the effects, and making a combined qualitative analysis. And then when it's possible, in the cases it's possible, we have also looked at the quantitative effects. Blip. Yeah, so for health and well-being, for the category, we have assessed mainly the effects on recreation. So we have looked at different benefits on ecosystem services, and we have then asked ourselves, what does this mean for recreation? Does it open up this area to different groups, and so on? And then for employment, it's based mainly on the financial reporting, and it's basically like who has been employed by this measure being built or things like that, but it's also a longer time frame. So if the measure being built means that there will be some maintenance in the future and so on. For savings or increased financial resilience, we look at the expected effects of the measure. is there a ability to save some money in the future due to this? And Rosita will actually give a good example of this later on. Or for business opportunity profiling and industry development, we have looked at if there's different technical innovation, or if the site development has actually led to more tourism and stuff like that. But also if there has been an opportunity for the partner to profile themselves like an environmentally friendly organization or stuff like that. A bit of greenwashing as a result of this. For local capacity, we have looked at if there is better or more intense collaboration, more formal, or if there has been trust as a result of our activities, because we know that trust can, in extension, lead to new partnership and new other projects. And for participation and impact, we have looked at if our main target groups have been reached. And equality and integration is actually in all of them. It's our perspective that we have integrated in all of these different categories.
Yeah, so we did this assessment because it was part of the application and we had promised to do it. And then when we got the results, we saw that, but these are actually super good arguments for more measures that maybe can speak to other audiences. Because the people we target mainly are people who are already working on environmental issues. I mean, they know why we should do all these measures. But here we get other arguments that are not just we are obliged because we are party to this directive, or that we have to do it because we have a responsibility towards the environment. Here we found a lot of other arguments on why we should spend public money on water measures. So I'm just going to tell you about 3 examples. So one is an aluminium treatment to reduce internal loading, which is when the sediments leak phosphorus. So aluminium is actually used to keep the phosphorus in the sediment. So the purpose of this measure, of this project, was to restore the lake. But in this evaluation, we saw that we got a lot of other effects, both effects that we were expecting, like a nicer looking lake, clearer water. But we, in this evaluation, and also through the local partner, they evaluated what actually the people who live around the lake and use it see as benefits. And actually, they only got positive feedback. This treatment, if you haven't heard of it, it could seem quite brutal that you put metal into the lake. So they did a lot of communication before, so the people were aware of the actual treatment, but surprised by the results. And we have seen in other places that actually higher recreational value of a lake can lead to increasing housing prices, and it can be good for local development, so it has a lot of other effect. And in conclusion, the economic value exceeds the cost of the measure. The multifunctional water parks that Luva mentioned before, they already have several purposes: water treatment, being areas for biodiversity, and also recreation. But in twisting, the implementation, we got other effects as well, like using people who are a bit outside the labor market in the construction phase, putting up really clear signs in all the parks, so it's also an educational value. A lot of schools visit these, and even if the teacher is not trained environmental educational person, the signs are really explaining all the steps and also the other functions, like the biodiversity. Why do we put a heap of sand here? Yes, it's for the bees, and they can also like touch the water and investigate the insects. And in this particular town, Uppsala, they also choose the location. Oh, you can actually see it here. Back. So this is quite a socially challenged area, and this is where the richer people live. And this used to be just a field that nobody could access, but now it becomes a meeting point between two different socioeconomic areas. So that's something that we might look into more. Well, this is just because I wanted to show off that you can also, in terms of architecture, when you design water measures, if you put just a little bit more focus on architecture, you can get a lot of attention. This is from an architectural design magazine, but actually this was, in terms of function, not so good, because the fence starts here, and here's where the kids fall off. So it looks nice. And then this is in the central city of Västerås, a fauna passage. So the project was about this is an old hydropower plant. So, and the Lake Mälaren that you saw starts 500 meters further downstream. So the fish could not join the spawning areas for more than 100 years. But to build something like this in, you see the castle, you see this is in the industrial history, it's like a cultural heritage area. So to find a solution that like everybody could agree on, it took 20 years. And I think it's thanks to the extra EU funding that it was now or never. Either you do it now or you will never do it. So this is the fauna passage. So a lot of attention was put to the design of it. But the main purpose was, of course, restoring connectivity. But when we evaluated this, we saw a lot of other effects, like being able to preserve the cultural environment, adding new sound to the center. Also, there are signposts with all the fish migrating. So it's really an educational area. It's like a classroom in the city center. So in terms of awareness raising, the whole process of like emptying the dam, constructing this, and talking a lot about why it's important with fish migration, it added a lot. So in terms of tourism and recreation and education, that was like what we saw. But then it's been a great inspiration for other municipalities, because this is what it looks like in Sweden. You have very narrow areas, the cities are built around rivers, and you have to consider a lot of actors and interests, and just to be able to find a solution that others could like see that it's possible. That was also important. And then Lova said that I would talk about possible economic savings. And you can see this fall, it was actually created also to be able to host more water in terms of, or in cases of flood, which we hadn't experienced. But in August this year, it was put to the test. So you see the normal picture, and then the water level just reaching up here. And if the fauna passage hadn't been constructed with the purpose of also being able to host more water, the city hall is just on the other side of this street, so it would have been flooded. So they actually put up fences to protect the city hall, but it wasn't necessary. So this will be more and more important. And to use these examples for politicians, this was quite expensive, I have to say, also to construct this for just a fauna passage. So we were a little bit nervous in the beginning because the first fish that actually migrated were like small like this. But now it's also in terms of biology also working. But to be able to say that, yes, it was expensive, but we saved I don't know, it's not possible even to estimate how much money could be saved by just adding this aspect to water measures. So that's how we have used these examples and the data that we got from the evaluation, which is quite not simple, you have to do it, but it's mostly qualitative results. And everybody can do it. You don't have to be like a specialist in anything to do this kind of estimation on what other values do you get from the water measures. And so what we have done now is, this is just something about our communication. We do a lot, we do all the other stuff as well, but I'm not going to talk about that. So what we're trying to do is like find ways of actually reaching politicians with these messages. So we have prepared presentations like this so that our partners can talk to their politicians or their decision makers. It's not us going around, but we prepare the groundwork so that they can actually talk to politicians, because in the end, they are the one that sets the budgets. But one thing we did was a small film, so we'll try to show it. It's subtitled in English, so and it's about politicians talking to other politicians, like peer-to-peer communication.
Vatten är faktiskt det viktigaste livsmedel vi har. Och det är bara vi som kan sköta att det inte blir förstört. Alla vi som bor i Sverige. Sture Johansson, lantbrukare och politiker i Sala, sitter i kommun...
So this is Swedish?
So if you put on
Just a minute. We have an English one.
Tere tulemast Salme keldrisse. Miks ta neid rohkesid nii palju vaja? Mitte tema ei vaja neid. Need on mõeldud tema lastele ja lastelastele, kes ise hoidiseid ei tee. Neile on neid vaja. Salme saadab oma hoidised Omnivaga.
We don't pay for something.
Vatten är faktiskt det viktigaste livsmedel vi har. Och det är bara vi som kan sköta att det inte blir förstört. Alla vi som bor i Sverige. Sture Johansson, lantbrukare och politiker i Sala, sitter i kommunstyrelsen, ledningsutskottet och sen är jag vice ordförande i bygg och miljö. Det som jag brukar säga, det ska egentligen vara flera bönder som engagerar sig i politiken. För vi är ju otroligt intresserade av vatten eftersom det är så viktigt även för oss naturligtvis. Och vi kan ju påverka vattnet bra eller dåligt i vår sysselsättning då, som jordbrukare. Men jag tror bara att man måste försöka att sätta sig in hur viktigt vatten är för alla människor och djur. Så att man verkligen blir intresserad, för det är en viktig fråga i samhället.
Jag heter Thomas Rådqvist, har varit ordförande i tekniska nämnden här i Enköping under den här mandatperioden, men har varit politiker i Enköping sedan 1998. Viktig insikt som jag har fått under min tid som vattenpolitiker, det är att det finns mycket kvar att göra när det gäller vattenkvaliteten i Mälaren. Vi får ju rapporter om hur det ser ut med olika typer av föroreningar. Det kan vara PFAS, det kan vara läkemedelsrester, det kan vara andra aspekter i Mälaren. Och jag har haft en bild av att Mälaren är helt okej. Det går bra att bada, det går bra att fiska och sådär, men när man nu får den kunskapen till sig så ser man att nej, vi har ganska mycket kvar. Och insikten om vattenfrågorna som har kommit från många håll har inneburit att vi också inser att vi behöver jobba mer strukturerat, systematiskt med vattenfrågan. Och det innebär att vi har tagit fram vattenplaner av olika slag. Bland annat en dagvattenplan, men också en övergripande vattenplan för hur vi ska hantera vattenfrågorna i Enköping.
Jag tror det finns inget kanske som berör människan så mycket i vår stadsmiljö som just vatten. Vi går gärna och tittar ut över vatten när vi promenerar. Det är vatten som vi måste dricka varje dag. Jag heter Karin Lidman. Jag är ledamot i kommunfullmäktige i Västerås. Har tidigare varit kommunalråd i Västerås i 12 år. Är nu för tiden ordförande i Mälarenergi AB. Och genom till exempel hur vi planerar vårt dagvatten, hur det flyter fram i stadsmiljön som vi ändå måste ta hand om, så kan vi få en väldigt attraktiv miljö för våra invånare och besökare här i Västerås också. Utmaningen kan ju vara att få andra politiker kanske att förstå hur viktigt det är med den biologiska mångfalden även under vattenytan. För den är ju faktiskt ännu mer känslig än den ovanför vattenytan, men den ser vi inte. Dessutom är det ju helt avgörande för våran miljö att göra de här insatserna i bättre dagvattenrening och översvämningsskydd så vi kan bygga mer bostäder. Och, ja, det kan ju vara en utmaning att argumentera för det, men om man väl gjort det så får man väldigt mycket positivt tillbaka. Det som ligger mig varmast om hjärtat så är det nog den faunapassage vi har här utanför. Det här kan man se både hur man kan göra miljön bättre för fiskar och andra djur som lever i vattnet. Tillsammans som vi fortfarande kan vinna ut kraft och energi här. Det är ju fantastisk kulturhistoria som vi här förenar med både biologisk mångfald och kulturmiljö och levande krafttillverkning som är så aktuellt idag.
Jag tror det har gått från att lite grann vara en självklarhet att vi har tillgång till fint, rent dricksvatten. Vi har våra badsjöar som är tjänliga till att vi ser att men vi kanske inte självklart har det framöver om vi inte aktivt jobbar med de frågorna. Jag heter Johan Söderberg och jag är kommunstyrelsens ordförande i Katrineholms kommun. Vi har flera projekt igång nu med skapande av våtmarker för att dels fördröja vatten, leda bort vatten men också för att rena vattnet. Så att vi får flera vinster av det här arbetet. Vi får ett renare vatten innan det når sjöar och reningsverk. Men vi får också en bättre lösning ifall vi skulle drabbas av ett väldigt kraftigt regn. Vi gör väldigt mycket bra i Katrineholms kommun på det här området och vi tar gärna inspiration från andra också. Både i Sverige och utomlands. Det där utbytet att hela tiden liksom försöka titta på hur andra har gjort och vad kan man få inspiration ifrån. Kan man kombinera arbetet med vattenfrågan med digitalisering till exempel? Det har varit en spännande fråga i det här projektet. Kan vi engagera medborgarna genom att erbjuda aktiviteter i anslutning till våtmarken? Kan man ha en liten grodkamera som följer en grodfamiljs väg liksom, genom den här våtmarken? Sådana spin-offer får man också titta på. Det kan skapa mer engagemang och förståelse för varför det här är viktigt. Vatten är inte en självklarhet om vi inte ser till att jobba aktivt med att ta hand om det vattnet som finns. Men jag tror att kan vi få ännu mer uppmärksamhet för våra projekt, andra kommuner och regioner som jobbar med andra vattenprojekt, om man lyfter upp det på dagordningen och pratar om det så kan det också fungera som inspiration för andra.
Filmen är gjord av Life IP Rich Waters med stöd av EUs LIFE-program.
Obviously, children are not. This is not a TikTok.
Euroopa kultuuripealinn Tartu 2000.
But the idea was to give the message from politicians to politicians and highlight what is important for them, just both personal but also what they actually have done. So
So to sum it up, there are great potential in creating these multifunctional measures. For measures that are strictly focused on like creating better water or better status, it can take a lot of time until you see the change. But if you create these measures that are actually multifunctional, you can see the change in creating a recreational area much faster, and then you can get results quicker. As we have also seen, it's cheaper in many ways to prevent than to remediate. And you can actually find a lot of like studies, monetary studies on this. And for us, as a tip, it's important to document like in the beginning of the project and have like the indicators set from the beginning to make it easier for your partners. And also like learn from others. Learn from us, yeah. That's it. Do you have anything else? No?
Yeah. I think it's also like, I think with communication as well, it's sometimes, it's hard to put like a money number on communication activities, as a plus of income, but to think that how much like benefit communication activities like produce.
Yeah.
There should be like an imaginary, like a money number next to them that we're actually so much about positive change that
unfortunately. We have to put money, like numbers on everything, but yeah, it's very difficult to evaluate. But that's also one thing with the EU projects, is that they only look at how many visitors did you have to your website, or how many leaflets did you produce, and nothing about like the impact or the change. They're not following up on that. So I think that's also something that, I mean, we have to do ourselves, but the EU should be more interested in like what are the actual effects of communication, not just that you do it or the number of people you reach. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not very
No, it's not my
So I'm really sorry for like mismanaging the time. We will have quite a little time for the program afterwards, but I haven't wanted to rush any presentation because it's so interesting for us to share this kind of stuff. So I will be the last one to present about the AHA activity, and then we will see. We will have like 20 minutes, I hope, or something like this for the group class as well. But I think we will manage and then we can move on.
I will try to make it really quick because otherwise we don't have any time for the actual group work. So, my slides. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the AHA Science Center in general, what we do, and then what we did during life project in here. So have any of you ever heard about AHA Science Center? So I know how many of you are Estonians. You have, yeah, a few. So we are a science center. We originally started as a small university project in 1997. Obviously, I wasn't working there at that time, but I went to work there when they built the new house, so in 2011. And actually, I started out as an explainer, just like Erik was yesterday doing the science show. I was the person in the beginning. So I wasn't a project manager, so I have done basically everything there. And yes, I started out as a science communication or explainer there. And at the moment, we have around 200,000 visitors per year in AHA. So it's the biggest science center in the Baltics. There are a few in Latvia, built recently, but still we are the biggest. And the next competitor, we don't like to call them competitors, but it's in Finland called Heureka. So more like partners, I would say. And what we do in AHA, our main idea is to show that science is fun, that you should know a little bit about it, and it is possible to do it in a fun way. It can be joyful, you can discover things, and everything around you is basically related with science. And sort of larger idea is that people would make their decisions based on like science, based on data, based on research, so they would be more aware of their choices in life and what they base these on. And our daily program, or what we do there. So workshops are not like we have here. We call these seminars like we have here. Our workshops are full hands-on. So like on that picture, you do something with your hands. You do experiments. You test something out. You create some kind of a hypothesis, and then try to figure out what happened. Then we have science theater shows and demos like we had yesterday. The yesterday one was more of a demo show. Usually science theater shows are a bit longer, like 45 minutes, and they are more like performative, so to say. Sometimes they have a storyline, so they have a character, they explain something, they play a character, and we also invite a lot of volunteers on the stage, but we didn't do it yesterday. Usually the experiment where he burned his hand, usually we can, oh, come on here and burn your hand. So this is what we do usually. And we also have a lot of study programs. So we have really good relationships with schools. So they come here, they come to AHA, and they have like 3-hour program there. So they do workshops, they see the science theater show, they do all sorts of tasks around the exhibition. So these are the things we do. And we do also have one program about water, I think. So this is not created during life project, but this is maybe the idea that if you want to disseminate your results, or if you want to have a partner who has like connections with teachers or kids or public at large, so Science Center is a really good place to do that. And we also organize various events or science-related special events in AHA and also around the country. So the biggest one we do is maybe you have have heard about this is the Researchers' Night Science Festival. So this is a pan-European thing. So over 300 cities in Europe, I think, organize it. And this takes place all over Estonia. And this again is one idea, a good idea to, disseminate your results or bring what you research or what you did to the public. And other things are like science camp, all sorts of competitions. We go with our AHA trucks, or not, they're like minivans, but we visit schools, other maybe youth centers, things like that, or maybe if there's an event somewhere, we go there, we perform, we do all sorts of things. And also like video content, maybe we have done podcasts and articles and stuff like that. So this is like a basic thing. But the daily programs happens every day. So we have, I didn't mention exhibitions. So once a year we build our own exhibition, once a year we rent one. And there's this permanent thing that's there all the time. So this is how we keep it like fresh. So you have to change things a little bit. So people would come again and again. And how do we do it? As I mentioned about the workshop, everything has to be hands-on. You have to, let's say, you have to use all your senses in order for people to maybe memorize something or have an impact on them. So they can touch something, they can smell something, they can see something, they can hear something, then most likely they remember something. And everything you do has to like spark interest or be maybe a little bit intriguing. So if you have a message you want to come across, the message, it has to connect maybe with their everyday life. People usually make changes when it concerns themselves or their everyday life. So connect whatever you want to show them with that. A little bit intrigue. I wouldn't use polarizing, but sometimes it's a good idea to use that too, but it's like maybe a slippery road. So no controversies or things like that. Maybe that's not a good idea. And also direct contact with the objects. So if you can, even if you're doing like a presentation, if you bring something, again, this is something that people most likely remember. We also do lots of collaboration and partnerships. So if you know that somebody's organizing something somewhere already, so it's a good idea to go, oh, let's do it together. We have these and these things, so let's do it together. So this is what we use a lot of the times, and during live activities as well. Let's say in Narva, they had some kind of a science festival. We thought, oh, we have this live IP science show. We are going to come here. You have like 1,000 people. We can do this, and again, you can find more people. We also work with media. This is like this regular things. And about social media, I wanted to tell that we do have a TikTok account in AHA. And we have a couple of viral videos. So we haven't had any backlash like in terms of leaking some information, so we don't have it. We don't have encounters with it. But TikTok is a good place for creating content for younger people. And the only thing is that you can't just put some random facts about your project there, so nobody probably will reach it. So I would say like Instagram and TikTok, the most effort should be put into that content. So creating a video that is, I don't know, a bit goofy or funny, but somehow tells your message as well. So we have usually we do like, you have to have some kind of a big experiment that catches their attention and then say something about it as well. And again, digital marketing, somebody already talked about this. So again, we have a specialist working on this, so all the advertisement and things, this is what we already do. And now a little bit about the LIFE project. So during this LIFE project, we built an exhibition. So this is a picture of it. This is like a smaller one. We would call it exhibition, but it can be, usually we build something larger, but for the project, this was the budget we had. So these are like everyday items, and they're sliced from the side, and they work. So you can put on the washing machine, you can see where the water goes, what it does, how it dries it, where the water goes next. And there's like, I think, floor heating system there, and the toilets, and all the kitchen appliances, everything you have in the house that uses water. And you can turn them on and see what the water does there. And there are all sorts of like descriptions and talks and text about it, what happens. And since we don't have a water cleaning system in AHA, the part where water comes in and goes out is on the side. So you can also see how the agriculture affects the water, how it's purified, what happens with it after it leaves your toilet. So the other things are on the diagram there. And again, as I mentioned, we have 200,000 visitors per year, so basically everybody, it's in our main exhibition hall, so everybody can see it. And again, for the project, it's a good idea or good option because it has all the logos and everything, and when you are there, you know it's LIFE project stuff. So in terms of showing what you do or displaying some kind of results or raising awareness, exhibitions are a good idea, in my opinion. And then we also made this small traveling exhibition, and this is like a bit more interactive, so you can do something with this. One exhibit where you can basically test out different kinds of water filters and purify your water. So you can go outside and take some water from the puddle or whatever lake you have. Then in these drawers there are some equipment you can test the water with. So the water goes through these filters. You can switch them out, so you can test these separately as well. And the water comes out from the tap, and then you can test it once again. So this is one activity you can do with this one. And the other one is like this environmental map. So there are different kinds of layers. You can see where groundwater is, how clean the groundwater is, where are the different types of rivers that were cleaned during the LIFE project or other rivers as well, so surface water as well, and all of the things that are related to the project that we are doing, and just some maybe fun regular things as well. So how many bears are in southern Estonia or whatever, other nature-related things as well. And they also have like worksheets that they can use with the environmental map as well. But then Corona came, and we couldn't like gather large amounts of people next to the exhibit. So we did something smaller for the traveling exhibition. So this is called an activity box, and this is basically, I think the box is like 50 centimeters or so, and one box is for 2 classrooms. So you have all the equipment there you need for the activity. Everything is there. What can be reused is reusable. So sometimes you can do the activity even maybe 20 or 30 times. You just have to buy a little bit more, let's say flour or things that run out. And it has this A4 worksheet with it that is inquiry-based educational material. So they have a task, they have equipment, they have to write down the hypothesis, they have to test it, they do an experiment, and then they present their findings. So this is how they work. And during LIFE project, I think we had 3 different types of these boxes. So one was purifying waters, the other is wells and mines. So you basically created well and then made a mine and see how the water levels in the well change. And the third one was about ecosystems. So we created a small ecosystem and see how the water, I don't know how it's in English. Water circulation works. I don't know if it's and science theater shows, as you saw, but one is about the topic that we are working on during LIFE project. And science cafes, which are like informal talks with scientists or researchers or experts in general. They usually happen in a cafe. You have a cup of coffee, maybe a glass of beer or something like that, and you can ask questions, and the expert or researcher gives an overview or something. So these are nice events for other adults and a good format. And again, when COVID happened, then we did them online as a video ones and online as a hybrid ones. So we used both of them. And the last thing AHA did was, maybe you saw them, I took this photo yesterday, but if you want to have something that shows something about your project, so these kind of interactive screens are again a good option. If you put this in a, let's say, in a shopping center who has 10,000 visitors per day, so again, you can, probably somebody is going to touch it if there's a sign that says you can touch it. So again, one good idea. And I think that was my last slide. But I think we don't have any time for questions, but. But yeah, what my main point is was to say that collaborate with science centers and museums. They are usually very interested, and they have some good ideas that could be beneficial for the projects and vice versa. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Annika. So again, I apologize for taking so little time for the group tasks. So what we will do now is to basically split into 2 groups. One group for like an information campaign, and one group for like a training plan. And I'm sorry, I hope you don't mind being put on the spot, but I think Vanessa would be like a good person to lead maybe the group for the information campaign, and maybe Rosita for the ones who are like developing the training plan. So for the information campaign plan, we should like gather maybe around this side of the table. Let's try to like organically make the 2 groups. And the training plan group will be on that side of the table, and you will have Uncus and Carmen helping you out with the task itself. So we also have like this kind of papers and markers to use. So what do you think? We should maybe like come up with a like message or something? Well, for you it would be really easy to just like water conservation or something like this. But maybe there's another like a message or like a goal we should think of that would be fun for you as well. join this group? Yeah, maybe if you can bring a chair, we can sit like around it. So. Thanks. So I'm guessing we really have like 15 minutes or something like this. I really apologize, for time, but.
Then you can just improvise when you're presenting that.
Do you guys have any ideas for like a group, for like a message or like a goal we're trying to achieve with the campaign, with the communication campaign?
Okay, but we need to choose a topic.
That's what I was thinking. Like for the topic, we have like some campaign ideas. Is it like water solution or promoting water reuse or?
I might be interested in reuse because this is something I know nothing about. But the others might have different opinions.
So water reuse, let's stick with that. Okay, water reuse is something.
So we can put together
yeah, so
a training program about
I don't know anything about water reuse. We have enough water for now. But you should be expert.
So, and maybe we can like have like a roadmap for a campaign or something. We have like a general main idea, the goal. We should want to promote water reuse. So maybe let's write that one down.
As I learned today, communication first we have to do research.
So what's our question? Promote it, how to remove the
don't need any amazing problems, no problems.
And if there are solutions
or enough money for it.
Yeah, but I think in projects
No, write it down. You can already maybe have like different options. We can,
water for plants.
No. You use the water you filter it into your toilet for flushing.
Yeah. Let's generalize right now. It could be the domestic
They always need
how to reach landowners, because projects not doing that, government officials are doing that. I don't think I'm fully trained on everything. But what,
we're promoting farmers mainly, but we haven't sent rules some tips, yes. Tips, yes. Like what to do the infrastructure. They collect their well water, use it for water plants, or in the washing machine.
Yeah, because then it's about infrastructure. You have to
planning and everything, so in larger scale.
You need some technical appliances.
They actually do it.
But
I worry that it should be also like washing machine water. Yeah, the washing machine is for fresh.
So on which step of the campaign are we right now? Are we in the research phase or? So we're trying to understand the problem. Yes.
So the problem would be infrastructure.
Yeah.
We want to make it more well known.
Okay, maybe we don't have to take like this specific topic. You can just start by.
But also, I think like these are multiple factors and then very important because they do something that we're not using black water, we're not using flushing like sewage water and using it. It's like very safe water from washing machines, from showering, from cleaning your plates, and it's water that can be used against other purposes, non-something.
So there's
lack of knowledge.
So we have a chosen agricultural producers and we think landowners. Yes.
And I also think of
researchers with groups and it's fine to do it this way?
There probably is like even studies, so you have to take that process in a way that you would understand it, define it clearly.
As you said, probably they are involved in all the
so maybe there's lack of knowledge of the public, but also some prejudices.
Could be a topic for that.
So black water is sewage. Black water is sewage water. Grey water is water from washing machine baths, washing your dishes.
You don't have
for
to
water,
just few ideas. For example,
Yes. Big,
if it's for landowners, maybe it's the same.
So once we get done with identifying the problem, doing our research, knowing like where the problem stands for, how do we get like a message out, or what are we trying to do then to change or to solution for the project? Yeah.
Maybe we make some showcases. We can show how the process works.
So first we identified the problem for ourselves, now we are trying to show the problem to showcase the problem. Solutions already. But maybe it's a good idea to start showing the showcasing the problem as well.
First change these are more like key problems. What doesn't change? Yeah. You don't have to follow these.
How can they benefit if they start using?
I would say
so we're providing an incentive maybe to
the training. If you want to use grey water at home, you can maybe save money in the water bill. Or
in sewage bill as well.
Yes,
in our countries, it's for collective sewage, the bills are so high, they're almost higher than for water. Yeah.
And what should be the outcome?
Yes, exactly.
like they're wasting resources as much as a single use.
And then I would do like a baseline. What is the actual
for us? Obviously, the issue with the reason to use the water source parts and the doctrine of the ways are doing this for money.
Yeah, well, it's a new concept.
But here it's where we can, the cost saving.
Yes.
By saving money, are you actually paying for the money? So the less money the less.
Water is not that high, but sewage thing is very, what goes out.
But maybe even if it's like an area where water is like a resource that they have like abundant amounts, maybe just the awareness that even if you have lots of it, you should cherish it. So just like it's increasing the value of it in people's eyes. Like usually they don't think about this. So one thing is like you have like you can cut your bills, but the other thing is that water really is like a really important thing in our lives. Even if you in Estonia we have water enough, I guess, but still I think raising awareness in general is always a good idea.
I think maybe like if you had to actually like design a campaign and put it towards other helpers or resources and really focusing like when it's supposed to end, when drought really become an issue, like bombardments and fact. It doesn't be a scary fact, but like you compare for example how much water Estonia has in comparison to other countries.
But you can like scale it on the globe as well, because we like we live on planet Earth, so people should be more aware about other countries anyway. So not only think about what happens in their area. This is important too, but
okay. So are we like this thought process that when we're trying to promote water reuse, we should start with water in general to show the importance of water.
It's a valuable
Yes, yes.
We're lucky to have very much we want to do, before we can see everybody else doing good.
Well, in Latvia we have a problem that in summer wells are becoming dry, so it's not unlimited.
Yeah.
So maybe something that you can write down is like when you're trying to promote water reuse, we should also show the importance of water as a resource in general. So
and it's not unlimited.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah,
You can
yeah.
also start an attack like before you decide water.
As far as we know.
Exactly.
Can you go quick one?
But it's as you said, like we can organize it as a local or a national, like Estonian partnership, like we do live on the same planet. It's all of our resources. We should work
Who
with
has
access
access to the landowners?
And I think as for our next step, maybe we should need to maybe bring like some kind of a change to people's habits. Exactly. Yes. So we identified the problem. We have showed an incentive of why they should do.
Now we can catch some officers, if there's workers. Only with farmers?
Yes, I'm really great. Buckets, which is on your roof or the tanks. But it's rain, you collect one word, you have a farm in the catchment area.
Easy peasy there, these kind of things, like even though we are doing the work, like cleaning on the water has huge value and such, but normal people tend to need the carrots, like something to really to benefit, something small even. So what could be that?
Partnerships on delivery, partnerships on how to reach the target group.
Like, for example, I liked your presentation, even though it contained with valuable stuff to conveying.
We gave them thanks and we started with promotion.
So you're not only like providing solutions on like a hypothetical scale, but you're also like actually physically giving them tools. So maybe like giving tools or something is something that we could also like think of like a way of communicating, like giving actual tools. You know, it doesn't have to be like, you know, something for the water tap or something, but you know, like.
When people have to like buy something, install something themselves, then they tend not to do that.
So.
Get all of what they should buy.
Everything it's free, people are like,
But you also have to make it desirable in a way, like for you guys, I'm still impressed that you had like people queuing up, and that shows like the value of the thing. And when you already have people, some people wanting something, you see others like, why are they wanting it? I want it to.
I think it does start though from like, I think towards innovation is now becoming scarce and from like scarce resource. So people are like, where does it money? And also like, again,
so maybe like setting an example should be one of the steps as well. That you, like if you see like people who are starting to use these tools, you have someone.
Maybe like implementing schools. Use that as testimonials.
That's a good idea.
Schools, we use it in public buildings, government buildings, different government works.
What kind of tank is it? Is it for rainwater or for?
Yes, it's rainwater. Yes, it can be any tank, buckets, pans, if you're like really.
Maybe you can think about your topics, but
You want to make like a course, but now like a course on this topic for these people.
Like we use car parts like solar panels. It's just like where we have space. We need to sun, but it can be done.
make it compulsory.
Car washes can be done with reuse.
Exactly. So it's perfect to have a car wash. You have fine. People don't collect rain, and then you can use that whole car.
We have something that kind of basically grew out of from our project.
Yeah, but we don't know what
the municipality in Mikado. There's a car parking lot where they use the asphalt that lets the road through. Yeah, exactly. And I showed an example that they use this kind of asphalt in car parking lots that it goes through, and they also have like the containers that it collects the water underneath.
We have to make
Okay, so we have implementing. We are showing an example. Do we get to like the result part anytime as well? Because I really like from your presentations that you know, important part of communicating is actually measuring the results or showing the impact as well. It's something that we should end up with to measure the impact or like show results.
How it benefits you and one of the best practices in my area, and
then you have a winner who saved
and that kind of ticks like many boxes. You will show results, you will put incentive, you will have that's a good idea.
You don't make most competitors, so then it's fun.
Yeah, and there are no losers. It's all about winners.
Yeah, winners planet Earth. Yeah.
And school, like, is a good way to start because usually kids educate their parents.
It's be like, what's sustainable in kids, be sustainable in terms of like water savings, would be one, or water use, management of nutrients.
Maybe this better go as far as my estimate
Okay, so let's recap. We started with the message, with the problem, with the task that we should promote water reuse. So we started with then identifying the problem.
Sustainable in terms of begins.
Thank you. So we have the aim of promoting water reuse. We started identifying the problem. Then we start to figure out understanding why would it be beneficial to promote to reuse water.
Use too much water. So like how can you manage the wide problems, scarce resource, also like drought.
Also like
Prices are high, certain options. And then so we have part of it like going to the next step.
And at the same time, we are already like communicating these kind of problem areas and the solutions of the problem as well.
Part of what we mean with sustainable.
And when we're done with identifying the problem, providing the solutions, then it's time to act. I see big letters. Now it's time to act.
This, we deliver the training, like who do they listen to?
And for the act phase of it, we are giving examples, we are providing tools, we are giving an incentive or like showing like a fun competition.
Yeah. But in Sweden, they
implementing it.
Associations it's usually the training that they tell is like the farmers.
I think the last step is like to use it in their households. Try with the public spaces, then they try with the competition with kids, and then I guess in the end, the best case scenario
Could be others like now.
And then maybe as a last step, we can, as we reuse water, we can sometimes reuse the campaign as well. You know? So we will get back to it sometime. You know?
I think like in the future, there should be like a link between those people who are building this infrastructure. So if you are building a new apartment So I guess this goes at some point this campaign like not only raising the public's opinion or awareness, just like the enterprises and local governments and things like that.
Yeah, we should talk to architects and
because if you have a bathroom that already have all the necessary pipes and things that reuse your sink water, then it's perfect.
Okay, so let's wrap up. Next we will be gathering in the bigger hall, and we will see what other workshops did for the group tasks as well. We will also need someone to present ours. Vanessa, do you want to do that as well? Yeah, sure, we can go as a whole group.
And also, like, if they do,
water is second life or something like that? So
Well,
second life.
I think this is actually a part of the campaign as well. If there's a, like a phrase you don't like, then yeah. So you don't exactly have to cross it out, but you can like maybe draw a line from it that we are trying to think of it to come up with like a rebranding. Yes.
Not just us. That's good.
I think it quite fits to the beginning phase of our like action plan as well. Good. Amazing job for this short amount of time. So.
Or just second life.
Or second life was
For
water.
Well, this is just one example of the rebranding route we can take. You know, there's.
Second life for water.
Yes, second life for water.
So thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you, Vanessa, for managing.
And the presentation was so impressive. Yeah. It's not just